This is how I got a world record for having the most trophies on a King level 9 account. And to start everything off, we always have to start in trainer camp, obviously, and trainer camp just seems to change every single time I start a new account. It's just changing all over the place, and I think this time we only have to do 3 battles or something like that to win, but yeah, it's always changing. But anyways, this will be Trainer Blue 3. That's going to be my name, and why it's 3, I will get into that in just a moment. But for now, let's make sure to finish the training camp so we can get on with the mission of getting to that juicy world record. Alright, nice. We destroyed Trainer Mike, and now it is time to start climbing the trophies after finally beating training camp. Now, as you can see, it's a fully brand new account, 0 trophies, 0 friends, and I am just going to be trying to get the world record here, so I'm going to join the world record clan I made here. And if you guys want to join a clan, join the Discord in the description below, and you can also get my friend link as well. But yeah, we are going to try to be sniping the level 9 record. We will make it on a TV Royale and even snipe someone's deck, so stick around for that. But for now, the reason it's Trainer Blue 3 is because I did have Trainer Blueberry, and this account was created for the intent of making a arena deck 1 deck challenge, the true way to beat Clash Royale. And then I thought maybe I could get the King level 9 world record. Obviously did not work out because that deck doesn't really work. So I started again and I tried Trainer Blue 2. And here we are in training camp, but this one was supposed to be log bait focused. I thought, since I'm so good at log bait, I could make it up there easily and outplay the people, but here we are. I was so close at winning this match. I go Goblin Barrel, but all he has to do is rocket my tower. It was just so hard to consistently win games against all their overpowered, overleveled cards. But this guy, NR Heart Alvaro, had taken the leaderboard by storm after Will had been on top for so long, and I wondered, what could he be using? So I scrolled down, and I saw his deck. Balloon? I can't believe I hadn't thought of Balloon. I would be sniping this deck, and this would be my last chance to take the record before someone else tried, and it was impossible to beat. So here we are, brand new account, Trainer Blue 3, and we got to get started at Arena 1. And obviously the thing about King level 9 is, one, the reason I chose it is because with the new card level locks, for some reason, I don't know why they added those, but for the new card level locks, King level 9 is the lowest King level you can have that allows you to bypass the final arena that has the cap. So I'm allowed to go as high as I want with King level 9, which is just what I need, so that's why I chose King level 9 here. But the other problem is I have the certain deck I want to play, but every time I upgrade a card it gives me XP, which upgrades my King level. And I want to have my cards of my specific deck as high of a level as possible. So I can't just go crazy and upgrade all these beginner cards, because then I won't be able to upgrade my actual deck enough because I'll have too much XP. So pushing through the lower arenas will be a bit more challenging because I'll have lower card levels. But as you can see here, we're kind of breezing through Arena 1, taking everyone out here. Arena 1 is basically just put Giant the back, or, well, for me, put Giant the back and take their tower, or Giant once I have put a support troop down, and for them it's play cards the bridge. So Arena 1 isn't that challenging, but this record did take quite a while, and the time I got this record, it was when Evolutions had just came out. So Evo Night, this was the season of Evo Night, and I knew that this was my chance to take Evo Night and use it to my advantage, because Evo Night was like having a Knight 3 levels higher than your Knight. So if I had a really high level Evo Night, it could tank basically anything. And I knew this was my opportunity to take the leaderboard by storm. But as all world record starts, at the bottom. Yes, that is right. 3 wins in a row you guys just witnessed. Oh, 4 I guess. Alright, well, we're just going to open our gold chest. Here we are in an old-fashioned bridge fight. Goblin Cage, Fireball to DPS down every single troop on the board. And Musketeer survives. And look at that, we even made it to overtime. This guy actually was probably the best player I've faced, but down the drain he goes. And Arena 1 is pretty repetitive, so I'm kind of skipping through these games because a lot of the games, everyone has the same exact deck. And like I said, I can't really upgrade my cards, so there we go. Arena 1 is almost done. This might be the last battle here. I'm just going to set up with a big push here, and yep, there we go. Where it looks like we're going to 3-crown him here. Yep, I guess he gave up, so there we go. We 3-crowned, and that should be the end of Arena 1. Yep, there we go, and like you can see right here, we can't progress to the next arena yet because of our king level, so I'm forced to upgrade a card to the next level, and honestly, I wasn't thinking I was going to use Knight, I was thinking I was going to use Lumberjack, so I upgrade the Goblin Cage instead of the Knight, but it's not a big deal because it's only 20 XP, so yes, now we are into Arena 2. And here we are in Arena 2 against Royale, and here I accidentally arrowed the floor at the beginning of the game. Here you can see me saying oops, and I took a very early damage loss. I honestly didn't know if I'd be able to come back, but I knew it was Arena 2 and anything could happen. So I kept on playing my best, and here we are. I go Giant on the right, and I know he might be in trouble if he does a weird spell, and there he goes Fireball on the Giant, and I know I've come back. I am fine. I got my mini P.E.K.K.A, and here we go. Dual lane pressure, and there we go. That's a 3-crown taking Royale down. I ended up winning the next game as well, and I unlocked the Valkyrie, which is good for the run because of its health. Readied up for the next game is looking really good until I faced Supercell. Now Supercell got a very early damage lead here with this Giant because I didn't have much to defend it. Later on, once we got to overtime, I started to make a bit of a comeback, but he was still pretty far ahead in damage, and he was stacking up Goblin Huts. A minute later, still nothing had happened until it finally happened. I lost my first game of the world record attempt, but that didn't stop me. I won, and I pushed all the way up to 600 plus trophies for Arena 3. And we ran through Arena 3 pretty quickly. There was a few close matches like this one, but they did end in a lot of wins. And here in the last match, we did smoke the last guy, which got us to Arena 4. Arena 4 and 5 were kind of the same story. In this one, it was a very close matchup, but I ended up winning in overtime by spell cycling, and that is pretty satisfying. But a lot of these games came down to it, but I eventually made it all the way up to Arena 6, P.E.K.K.A.'s Playhouse, and this is the deck I ended up using. A cheap cycle deck, because I knew I had to defend against these overleveled cards like this Witch right here. Very annoying level 9 Witch, I can't even believe it. But I had Rocket for, you guessed it, Rocket Cycle, and things like overleveled Witches. And it ended up working out pretty decently. And we are climbing our ranks up the arena here, and we were rocket cycling this guy because he was doing a decent job defending, so I knew, okay, maybe this deck will work. And I was using wild shards on the Valkyrie because I knew it would be important for helping climb up the early arenas, and this is the time when they did have the wild shards in the item shop, which was nice, so I was able to upgrade a few more cards, get the win, and make it all the way up to Arena 7. Alright guys, so honestly, this was the deck I had at this point. Kind of a cycle log bait deck with P.E.K.K.A, but it honestly, this arena took way longer than I expected. It took me a few hours just to push through because of all these overleveled cards, and it was just starting to seem, I was starting to think if this world record attempt would actually be possible. But then I remembered most of my cards aren't in the deck I'm ultimately trying to reach, and that's why my card levels are so low. So I kept on pushing, and here we can see in a very close overtime match, I know all I have to do is arrow cycle. Goblin Barrel won't even matter because my tower has high enough HP. I can go for a Goblin Barrel, Skeleton Army, and if he doesn't defend the Goblin Barrel, I just have arrows anyways, so it will be a nice good game there. And that did end up pushing me all the way to Arena 8, Frozen Peak, and this arena actually didn't take as long. I feel like at this point every single player basically was using a Hog Rider and Goblin Barrel, and that was their main source to win. But this guy, I just completely rolled this guy. He ran out of elixir, and I got a nice Goblins plus Goblin Barrel on his tower. And I 3-crowned a few more people. And then I faced this guy, JJ Greifer, and he had the most absurd deck. He had Royal Hogs, then he froze, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to lose to this guy. And I was getting very annoyed, because this guy also has Hog Rider. And by this point, I didn't know if I'd be able to win, because here he goes again, he gets another Royal Hogs, but he just gets the freeze, and it's just impossible, it feels like, to stop the damage. Especially when he has a Witch and Wizard that I now have to waste the arrows. My tower is down to 670 HP, and his tower has quite a bit. He also goes for a Hog Rider here, and he doesn't just have freeze, guys. Oh no, he also has Fireball. And now my tower is, like, I think 2 fireballs away from going away, so I know I have to defend at all costs. He does waste the freeze, luckily, so I can get a nice Valkyrie here. And this time, he gets no chip, and then he does a terrible Hog Rider. I'm like, wait a second, did he just throw the game? Because he just went Hog Rider into a P.E.K.K.A Valkyrie Goblin. So I go
Knight plus Goblin Barrel. He wasted all of his elixir on that fireball. Then he goes Skeleton Army too. So he's literally playing on 0 elixir, and he goes Valkyrie on the left. I'm like, okay, there's no way I don't win right here, right? And then last second, right as the knight is swinging, he freezes. And I'm like, oh no, don't tell me I just lost. I need to go Inferno Tower for this hog, but I need to be careful of his Royal Hogs. Luckily, he has to waste Royal Hogs on the right for defense. I can go for a Goblin Barrel, and he wastes his Fireball, but I know all I need is 2 arrows on the tower. I go Knight, and then I go Goblins on the left, just trying to dual lane pressure. Since he goes Witch, I can get a nice arrows, knowing I can cycle back to another one. And I do end up taking the tower, and that was such a close game. Now, at this point, I had 4 out of 8 cards that I'd be using by the end of this challenge, and that was the Balloon, Freeze, Inferno Tower, and Skeleton Army. Technically I did have the Knight as well, but at this time I did not know I'd be using the Knight, so it wasn't a very high level. And I think what helped push me through this arena a lot quicker was the level 10 Balloon. I knew the card I needed to upgrade to level 14 was the Balloon, because it was the win condition and it was the most important. Balloon plus Freeze just takes everyone off guard, especially if you do it at the end of the game in double elixir, after you've defended with Skeleton Army, a nice swarm card, and Inferno Tower to take out the tanks and high level cards. And the Balloon is just really nice at taking them off guard, and if they don't have correct air support troops, it's very hard for them to deal with. Like in this match here, you can see all I have to do is go Inferno Tower plus Valkyrie on this counter push, and he really can't even take my tower or do much here. So the Balloon is just really helpful, and I'm starting to get hope back that I'll be able to make it after reaching Arena 9.
Once we raided to Arena 9, I felt like I was playing a lot more cycle-type decks with lower elixir cards, especially Goblin cards like Goblin Gang and Dark Goblin, and obviously I felt that was because of all the new Goblin cards, obviously, but it was kind of nice not facing like P.E.K.K.A. Witch, Wizard completely. The Wizards and Witches weren't gone completely, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot more Swarm cards, which was really nice for my deck because I felt like I was able to defend pretty easily in this cases like this with goblins and arrows, and then I even was able to go Balloon with basically anything I put down because it was such a high level Balloon, and I also had Freeze, and Inferno Tower is really nice at taking down troops. So I ran through Arena 9 pretty quickly and got to Arena 10 here, and a lot of people in this arena did have Goblin Barrel. Here I thought I was going to lose the game immediately because he got so much damage, and I tried to go Balloon on the right and got a Freeze off, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can tower trade here. And unfortunately the Balloon just barely doesn't get a third hit, and I know, okay, it's definitely over. He even gets a giant in the pocket later and completely takes the rest of my tower health down. Unfortunately I do even have to freeze this just to make sure I take the tower. But later in the game I go with another Knight Balloon. Somehow I'm still alive and I haven't lost the tower. I have to go Musketeer on the Valkyrie because I can't allow any damage to slip through. Somehow I'm able to defend the Giant and Skeleton Army. I have to go arrows on this Goblin Barrel, but I miss one Goblin because he put it pretty far back, and he'd taken so much of my King Tower. I don't know how I'm still alive in this match, but I managed to get one more Knight Balloon in the pocket, and somehow I'm able to take his tower. And a lot of close matches like these happened in Arena 10, and it wasn't necessarily because of the skill level of the players or the card levels, I would say, but how long all these matches went that took so long for me to push through this arena. But in the end, that was the deck I was using, and I was able to beat quite a lot of the players. It just took a lot of time, either till the end of overtime or the full 3 minutes. But we did make it to Electro Valley, which is really nice because that is where a lot of the legendary cards are unlocked. I ran through a lot of people here at the beginning, and I was ready to unlock the log, but unfortunately the Phoenix didn't unlock till Arena 12, so I kind of waited here with the rewards on my trophy road until I got to Arena 12. I ran through Arena 11 though and started opening the chests. Earlier I did end up unlocking a log, but here I got the Princess. Unfortunately I didn't quite get the Phoenix. I was really hoping I'd get the Phoenix here, but then unfortunately I did get the Mega Knight, and it was okay because at least I had the log, so I didn't have to use the arrows anymore. And here was my current deck at the moment. I just needed the Phoenix and the Executioner at this point, and what I thought was the Lumberjack. Then I made it to the end of Arena 12 and I opened the chest that somehow gave me the Phoenix from the extra legendary wild card, which was really nice. And I was able to use it to push, aside from level caps and stuff, these Arena 13 and 14 weren't that difficult, honestly, because to me the game doesn't really start until 5,000 trophies, because that's when Path of Legends are unlocked, and so that is when a lot of players have much higher card levels and stuff, and they have a bit more skill. So Arena 13 and 14 weren't that bad, especially considering now I had basically my full deck. I even unlocked the Executioner halfway through Arena 14, and it just gave me, I was able to upgrade all my cards, and it wasn't really that hard, as considering a lot of the players I was facing were also similar king levels as me. Here was my card levels at this point. I was able to upgrade my Executioner to level 13, which was really nice, and now that we were in Arena 15, I was able to upgrade my King Tower level to level 9, so I was able to push all the way, and here's where I felt the game really started, playing against level 12 Mega Knights. Can't play the game without seeing that happening. But that's why I loved the Executioner, because I felt like it did a great job of hitting the Mega Knight and support troops behind it, and it was great at dealing with the Witch, especially because with my King Tower level, it would not take out skeletons in one shot, which was very annoying. And I had to keep that in mind for other cards, such as Freeze, to make sure my Freeze would take out level 14 skeletons. But other than that, this deck was a really nice deck because some of the cards like Skarmy and Freeze did not need to be upgraded very much to be at a very useful for that type of deck, and I felt like my level 14 balloon was kind of just running through people in this arena. So Arena 15, even though it was a 500 trophy push, honestly didn't seem that hard because no one had many buildings or even air defense that could stop my level 14 balloon. And I was also facing people with similar king levels as me, 9 and 10, so they didn't have the highest card levels, and I got quite a bit of hope and thought this is actually doable. As you can see, I'm facing a lot of king level 10s and 9s, and there that push looked pretty scary, but if Freeze just takes it all out, and that level 13 Mega Knight is no more. And there we go, we made it all the way to the next arena, and I was starting to feel hopeful because we had made it around into the top 1,000. Now that we're in Arena 16, we're not quite at 6,000 trophies yet, so I knew that there would be a lot more players with higher level cards, but I knew it wouldn't be impossible, especially because with my previous 2 accounts that I mentioned earlier that I had at King level 9, I had gotten past this arena before, and I knew if I was able to get past this arena with the King level 9 account with the Arena 1 deck, I could definitely do it with this deck as well. So I just had to play confident, play my best, and try to grind through. And yes, a lot of people had much higher card levels, and for some reason I still hadn't decided on using the Knight over the Lumberjack, so I had a level 7 Knight, which was kind of funny, but all my other cards were pretty leveled up. Skeleton Army level 10, I had a Freeze at a decent level. The only thing was my log didn't kill level 14 goblins, but it's okay. I won a few, but then I also lost a few as well. This game was actually really close, and I thought I was going to lose because my log didn't even kill his goblins from the Goblin Barrel. But somehow I was able to get a balloon through, and I didn't even think I was going to get a hit, but then the Phoenix killed the Inferno Dragon. And he went for Goblin Barrel last second, and even though the log didn't kill it, it knocked it back just long enough to not take my tower. And I kept going up, and then down, and then up again, and that's kind of how the whole arena went. I really felt confident with my high level balloon and Freeze because I felt like the Freeze was just so good offensively and defensively. And this game was really close. I thought I was going to lose because he went log and my tower was so low, but then I remembered log was his only spell and he couldn't really take my tower, and somehow I was able to get a balloon plus Freeze on the tower. I was just really loving this deck and really having a good time. I was going up and down a bit more, but I felt like no matter what deck they had, I had a good chance against it, especially with my Inferno Tower, just really good at taking out tanks, and Freeze so with its versatility. And I was just really loving the deck, and I had all the cards except Knight, obviously. And here we are, now we're 6,000 plus trophies, around in the top 15, and I was really feeling confident here. I finally upgraded my Knight to level 11, and I didn't have the Evo version yet, but it was okay. Right away though, I knew that this arena was going to be a different battle. One, because of the bots. The bots were very annoying, and you could tell basically when they never said any emotes and they weren't in a clan, and they played like a robot. And you might say, well, that might be easy to beat them, but there was a lot of them, and they had a ton of classic decks, like this Marcher deck that was really close and annoying to beat. And there were just so many of them, and the problem was that they all had super high card levels. But that wasn't the most annoying part. There was also, and there was a lot of them, I mean a lot of bots. The annoying part was that these players knew how to play the game and counter my defenses. Like this guy, he zapped pretty quick, and he got all the skeletons in my skeleton army. So if I didn't have Inferno Tower in my cycle there, I would have lost immediately. And it was so easy to take such big damage from them, and so hard for me to get damage on their high level king tower. I kept losing and then winning, and there were some very close matches, but I was about a week or so into the grind, and I was getting a bit concerned that I wouldn't be able to make it. Some of these games are just really hard to beat, and a lot of players just had really high card levels, but luckily I had upgraded my knight at least to level 12, because if I had had a level 7 knight, none of this would have happened. It did a really nice job tanking for my Inferno Tower and support cards. And it was just really satisfying getting a balloon connection on tower like this, where I defended the whole game and didn't touch his tower till a minute and 15 seconds left. And it was just really satisfying getting those balloons on the tower. And here I got a nice 3 wins back to back to back, and it gave me a little boost, as I was getting a little bit worried. And here I was only 2 wins away from reaching the next arena. I readied up into my next game, and unfortunately things started off pretty bad, as, well, let you guys can see. Yeah, I kind of messed that up, and the Goblin Barrel got so much damage, it was unwinnable because of his defense. And then the next game I lost too. These firecrackers had just been destroying me throughout the whole arena. The firecrackers were so annoying. And here I started to get tilted, and I was getting worried I was going to lose all my trophies again. But I knew I could do it, and I finally made myself into the last match that if I won, I would make it to Arena 18. And I knew I could do it, especially because I had made it here before with my log bait account. This was going to be a hard match because I was starting down quite a bit of damage, and he kept going Goblin Barrel plus arrows, so every time I went for a skeleton army on the Goblin Barrel, he would just take it out. And it was really annoying because I still didn't have Evo Knight, so I didn't really have a great tank. Here I went for Balloon the Bridge because I knew he'd prediction arrow me, and skeleton army wouldn't do anything, so I needed to get damage on the left, and it ended up working out. The balloon actually connected to the tower, and not just 2 hits, but 3 hits were secured, and I forced out the skeleton army. I knew he was pretty low on elixir here, and this was definitely winnable as long as I just was able to defend and take his right side tower. And luckily, I was able to get another balloon on the right side tower, and I went for a risky freeze, knowing that if he was able to defend, I probably couldn't take his left side tower in time. But I was somehow able to take his right side tower, and I got super excited because all I had to do was defend. I logged early accidentally, but I fixed it with an Executioner and a skeleton army on the mini P.E.K.K.A. And I knew at this moment that I had won, and I was so happy because I had been grinding for weeks, and I didn't even have Evo Knight, and somehow I was just about to make it into Arena 18, where it was possible to get the world record that I had been working for around a month, and I was excited. And we finally made it to our goal, and we are around in the top 5 at this point, which was really nice. Never back down, never what? That's right, guys. Never give up, and that is exactly what I'm doing here, because I do not know how many matches I had to play and how many people I had to face. Well over probably 100 matches just to get 200 trophies into the arena, and I needed to get over 300 trophies into the arena. This is absolute madness, but this is one of the very closer games, especially in the last minute here. He had log bait, and it's very hard to get through the Inferno Towers with the balloon. Luckily, I did force out the rocket there, or else I would have gotten a balloon hit, and he would have been down so much. And I was playing really good defense. He had basically no damage on my tower, so I had completely caught up from having the disadvantage of a lower king level, and I knew I just had to keep pressuring him with balloons, or he'd be able to rocket cycle me. Here I go for the freeze, and luckily my log is high enough level to take out the Goblin Barrel, but also funny enough, guys, I still don't have the Evo Knight, just for the record, so I don't have any Evos still up to this point, and he does go for the rocket because he knows this is his only chance, but unfortunately for him, the balloon bomb does go off, and I do take the game right there, which is a nice win. I have so many games that I could go through, and it would take hours, and I could show you guys in another video if you wanted. Let me know actually down in the comments down below if you'd like to see more games from Arena 18, or if you'd like to see more challenges, or me go for a different type of record, or what decks even you'd like to see in the future. Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to join the Discord so that once we hit 100 subscribers, I will be 1v1ing my subscribers, and if you beat me, you'll have a chance to win a Diamond Pass Royale. Yes, that's right, a chance to win a Diamond Pass Royale. Who doesn't love free things in life? I know, it's great, but Yeah, let me know in the comments below, but I won't bore you with all those games. I will show you some important games, though, like this one, TV Royale. And it's always nice to not lose when you go on a TV Royale. I've only been on there twice. The one time I was on there before this was a few years ago when I was pushing pretty high with the King Level 1 account, but that doesn't exist anymore, obviously, because of King Level caps, unfortunately, but it's always really nice to win. And obviously at the time I didn't know this would be a TV Royale match. I thought I was completely dead, and I think the reason it made it on was because I started down a tower and a half in the first minute and a half with no damage on his towers, and my king tower level was so low. I was already about third highest trophies with king level 9, so that's definitely why it made it on. But I got a really nice push here, and I got a really nice freeze, because normally you only want to freeze with the balloon, but there I knew if I got a freeze I'd get quite a bit of damage and take out any counter push potential from him, so that was a really good freeze. And he does have really high level cards, which is really annoying for me, and the flying machine is just so annoying. The reason I'm getting so mad is because he has Firecracker and Flying Machine, two of the most annoying cards in the game, and Firecracker is almost impossible for me to kill. Here he goes for the lightning, so I know I have to freeze to take the tower. If I don't take the tower here, I'm never going to take it, or at least by the time I will, he'll have too big of a counter push to take my other tower that I won't be able to take his second tower. So I go Skeleton Army after the Firecracker locks onto my knight just to make sure it takes it out, and it'll help with the prince as well, unless he spells it down, which he decides not to do. And here I decide to go in for a balloon push because balloon is always helpful. I go Executioner behind just for good measure, but unfortunately he just has so many air counters. All he has to do is lightning plus Firecracker. It gives him a positive 1 elixir trade, and all I get is the bomb on the tower. I still have to deal with the Valkyrie, so I have to go Skeleton Army up high. Unfortunately he predicts it with the bomber, and I think I'm cooked, but the bomber really doesn't do anything there, which is kind of funny. And I can just go balloon here. I just got to keep up the pressure, especially because I have stuff going down the left lane, so he can't do too much. And then he pulls out the Electro Wizard, and I'm like, oh man, this guy just has like all the air counters, like Flying Machine, Lightning, Firecracker, Electro Wizard. Luckily my level 14 balloon does take out the Firecracker. I go for a knight, just setting up to defend, and he gets the lightning, and I know he only needs one more lightning on my tower, and he's won. So I need to either keep up the pressure or take his tower now, or I'm going to lose. So I go with a Phoenix Balloon. I know he can't lightning because he already used it. I go for the freeze. He goes Electro Wizard, and I think he might have lightning and cycle here, so I know I need to take the tower. I get one shot, and then I get a second shot just before he gets the lightning down, and I'm actually so happy I won that. But that was such a close game, and I still didn't have Evo Knight. But yeah, I won't bore you guys with the extra matches unless you guys want to see some more. Let me know in the comments below. But anyways, we are in the final game here, and it will be in replay mode just because I didn't want to record the actual match in case it bugged out and my game crashed or something because I was recording, if that makes sense. But yeah, I was facing a king level 12, so 3 levels higher than me, and unfortunately I had a level 13 princess, so my log doesn't actually kill it, and that's why I'm leaking elixir here. I don't really know what to do. Normally I'd log that, but I kind of have to waste the Inferno Tower on it, which is really annoying because I can't log. But luckily I'm able to log on the Goblin Barrel, and it does kill the level 14 goblins, which is really nice. So I don't really take any damage here, and I know it will be interesting facing Logbait, but I know it is definitely a winnable matchup here. And I just gotta play confidently and make sure to break through the Inferno Towers, which is going to be the hardest part. Here I don't quite catch the princess, but I get it down fast enough so that I only take 2 shots, and he is also forced to waste the Inferno Tower, which is kind of nice. I can just set up with an Executioner in the back. I decided not to go for an aggressive balloon because I knew he had a rocket, and if I went like Balloon Phoenix or Balloon Executioner, he could just get a very good value rocket off. Here I just go for the Skeleton Army. I know he could log, but he didn't predict it, and it would have been too late anyways for him to do it after I had placed it, so I do have to deal with the Knight, so I just go Phoenix, and he does go Barrel in the back, so unfortunately the Ice Spirit will connect to the tower, but he does have to deal with the Phoenix as well, so I am up a bit of elixir here, but again, it's just so hard to break through because my win condition is Balloon, and he has Inferno Tower for it, so even if I'm up a ton of elixir, it's not the best thing for me. And I felt like I honestly didn't know if I could win this match because I was already down so much damage, and all I had to really do was cycle Inferno Towers and then maybe get 1 or 2 rockets off on me at the end, and there was no way for me to get damage. But here he went pretty aggressive. He went for a rocket, and he actually missed the executioner. I'm like, there's no way he gets away with that, right? So I go with Skeleton Army plus Balloon. I know he has to log an Inferno Tower, which he does. But I get a freeze off, and he's so low on Elixir. And I'm so glad he messed up that rocket, because if he hadn't messed up that rocket, that executioner wouldn't have gone crazy like it is. But I actually got so much damage with that balloon. And I was feeling so confident, and I could tell this guy was mad, but that was kind of his fault for going for an aggressive rocket. He really did not need to do that. And luckily, his tower was within 1 log range, so all I needed to do was defend for 30 more seconds, and the world record was mine after grinding 3 different accounts, so many hours against so many players, having to push through the lower arenas with low card levels, and yeah, it was just such a grind, but it was really fun, honestly, to get the end goal. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down below what type of videos you guys would like to see next. But yeah, that was kind of a nice match here against Logbait, which did give us the world record here. 6,848 trophies, I think, yeah. And I did end up winning 2 more games later that I didn't record, but that's how far I recorded, so that was a nice win with that deck there, Balloon. And yeah, just never give up. If you guys are trying to work on a goal, just never stop working on it, and I'll see you guys next time!